Good evening, and welcome to this another edition of Up Late with Sion Marshall. Thank you so much for joining. It's a beautiful Thursday evening, and no doubt some of you may have had long days at work, and it's time for beds for some people, maybe the students, but you've decided that, like you did last week and the other weeks before that, you're going to stay up late with us. Well, you won't be disappointed. Tonight promises to be a fantastic program. Now, just a bit of housekeeping issues before I get into the program itself. Tonight, we should be welcoming viewers from Asbot News Network. I thank Asbot News Network for this partnership and for bringing the program on their platform. We've always had a good working relationship, Asbot and I. I remember a few times I hosted his Sunday afternoon program on the spot, and it was quite a joy working with Asbot. And so I look forward to a long and fruitful partnership with this network airing the program Up Late with Sion Marshall. Also, my nephew Otmar, DJ Ligaments, he celebrated his birthday yesterday. Uh, I hope you had a really good birthday, Otmar. I don't know, what you did, but your mother posted you a million times on Facebook. So if nothing else, you should be happy with that. The whole world knew it was your birthday. And finally, we are now available on Apple Podcast. So there are so many ways that you can listen or look at this show. You can look at it on our Facebook page, Up Late with Sion Marshall. You can look at it on our YouTube page, Up Late with Sion Marshall. And if you may not have the time to actually look at it, but you want to just listen to it while you're on the train in the diaspora or somewhere, you can tune into Apple Podcasts and get the full episodes of this show. And again, as I said in the beginning, we are also now on ANN, Asbot News Network. Now, this afternoon, or this evening, my word, we are going to be talking cricket. I grew up looking at cricket. I grew up watching cricket. I grew up listening to cricket because it is a popular sport in our region. And there are some names you grew up looking at and talking about, and it's not very often you get a chance to meet and speak with some of the names that you have heard. This evening, we have two special guests with us. One of them excelled at the top of uh, playing cricket, playing all the way for the West Indies level, and the other played regional cricket as well, but now is excelling in another area of cricket. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening, staying up late with us are two fantastic Vincentians who have made their contributions uh, locally, regionally, and internationally, and continue to contribute to the game of cricket. I'm speaking of no other than my brothers, Nixon McLean. I believe his number was 98, but he'll tell us more when he joins, and also the brother Deighton Butler. Let's say good evening to both gentlemen. Nixon, Deighton, good evening.
Hi, Sian. Good evening. Good evening to all listeners.
And viewers.
Deighton, Mr. Butler, you don't get to go before me, okay? You were born in 1974. I was born in 73.
Hold on,
Nico,
hold
you,
on.
Nico,
There
you're
is
not,
one umpire on the panel, but I will be the elite umpire between the two of you. All right. So
I,
so
was,
I think that's a no ball, Nixon.
I was only gonna say it's the first opportunity I get to bowl over before him when we played together. So I'm glad he took it.
Uh, how are
Okay,
things, guys? How are you, Deighton? How are you, Nixon?
gentlemen, thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be a part of your program. Um, I want to say pleasant good afternoon to Butler, but a lot of persons may not know of Dayton's exploits as an
Well, you're going
individual.
to talk about that this evening, and that's why we have him here, because Dayton has been doing fantastic work globally, And like you just said, many individuals may not know. And so we would take this opportunity this evening. And even you, Nixon, I think a lot of the younger individuals may also not know of the work that Nixon McLean has done and his exploits globally as well. So hopefully we get a chance to chat a little bit about all of that with both of you this evening. Now, Deighton, you're not in St. Vincent currently. So where are you exactly?
Presently, I'm in Jamaica for the original 4-day championship. So this is my second week here. I was here for 2 matches. So we just started the second match.
All
So
right. So
we're in the second day now. Yeah.
fantastic. We are utilizing the technology. I'm in the UK. Deighton is in Jamaica, and Nixon is in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we are all up late. Me much later than the others, but that's all right. Now,
Okay,
I'm gonna ask you. Yes,
Sion,
yes.
Deighton is a quiet individual. He he never speaks of all the stuff that he does, but away from cricket, the social work that Deighton has done for St. Vincent, and Deighton, I'm not blowing you a trumpet here because you won't do it for yourself, but the program that the government has with the elderly exercise program in collaboration with the Ministry of Sports, Deighton has been very instrumental in that. People like Olanzo Jackson, Samantha Lynch, those two places that we have for the elderly home care and so on. One at Monteong Butler
Yeah.
and the other at
At Bookament.
Bookament.
Mm.
Right. And those guys have done extremely well. And I don't know if, Sian, you have seen some of the footages, how happy those old people are when they get to exercise.
I could imagine.
So apart from Butler's exploits in cricket, he has done extremely well. He and his team in that regard.
All right. No, I'm happy that you laid the groundwork for the social aspect of it, and hopefully a lot more of that would come out, and we'll give Dayton a chance to speak to that. But let's talk a little bit about the beginnings for you guys. Has cricket always been a love for both of you, and where did it all start? I'd let you go first, Dayton. Where did it all start? And maybe in that you can tell us where you're from, and was it always a passion for you, cricket, and how did that passion start?
Yeah, I am from South Rivers, and just like Stubbs, where Nixon is from. South Rivers is a very strong cricketing community. I grew up watching the adults in South Rivers playing every Sunday. There will be a match, and I mean, for a small village at that time, South Rivers had about, I'm not exaggerating, about 8 cricket teams, hardball, and you will have teams have to put in their bid to play a game on a Sunday weeks in advance, because there are so many teams wanting to play. Now, I grew up watching these guys playing cricket, and being inspired by them, wanting to play cricket. So I actually learned to turn my hand playing with young grapefruit. Every Saturday we will pick a bucket of young grapefruit, and we gone over where we call Three Rivers, and we playing cricket all day. We'll pick like two buckets of mangoes, and we are playing for mangoes all day. And when one team win all the mangoes, we all sit down and then we eat the mangoes. We're not even going home to eat because we have mangoes there. Now,
Don't bring Mango into any Stubbs conversation.
okay, Nico.
I was hoping that would come out.
Yeah, but that's where it started, and because in our time playing cricket, primary school cricket, had not started as yet. So you're knocking around in the village and so on until you go to secondary school. You're actually playing organized competitive cricket. But my village, there was a cricket match just about every evening. So I grew up watching the guys playing cricket, going and trying to emulate what I see they doing, and we're playing cricket all the time. I used to play a lot of softball cricket, and then I started to play some hardball. So when I went to secondary school, I was actually playing more football than cricket. And one evening,
Never good at it though.
I think because I was really fit, so I was I run all game. So we played when I was in secondary school. Now the primary school cricket started, and at that time it was quite strong. So those of us who just went into secondary school, they put a team together to play a practice match against the South Rivers primary school. At the time, they had a strong team with them. Nixon, you will know them Batiste guys, Civil Batiste and Randy and those guys, right?
I
We used
do.
to call Cheng. Now, that was my first hardball game, and I took 5 wickets. So Daniel McLean, who was teaching at Bishop College at the time, actually saw me play, and he went back and told Springer that
Dado?
Dado, yeah. This guy can play. This guy is a good player. You need to get him on the team. So he came and said to me that I need to come to practice. So I said, no, I come in to play no hardball. It's football and thing I play, and I'm doing athletics. So he said, listen, I'm not asking you if you want to play cricket. I'm telling you, you need to show up to training. So I actually went, and after the first day, say, you're on my team. Make sure you're training every time we have training. And that was my first year. That was my first encounter with Nixon McLean. When we met in the semifinals at Bronxtown in Georgetown.
Are you going to go down that road? You sure you want to go down that road?
So Nixon, where did it start for you?
Up to today, that was one of the most fantastic cricket match I played in school, in secondary school. The game was so close, just shifting from one side to the next. I think we actually won the game by about 5 runs.
Could I clarify that the umpire SEC gave you the game?
Okay.
SEC
No,
gave you the
we
umpire?
don't want
I
to
don't know
start
how
to
that-
talk about umpiring just yet.
Let
Okay,
me tell you what I
my
remember most
journey.
about that, right?
Hey?
Let me tell
See,
you what
my
I
journey was
remember
a bit
most
different
about that
from.
game.
Sorry, Botsy.
I didn't hear
My
that part, but
cricketing
because
career
Nixon
was a
jumped in the
bit
same place.
different from Deighton's.
How did
Because
your journey start?
I don't want to go back too far, but I failed common entrance the first year I started common entrance. Well, actually, I passed, but my father wanted me to go to grammar school. I didn't pass to go to grammar school. And the second year, I think up to now, I probably have the most marks for anyone who ever failed common entrance because you have to pass maths properly. But I ended up at Carapan Secondary School. And that is probably one of the best things that ever happened to me because at Carapan Secondary School, the cricket program was extremely good because Oswald Nanton was the cricket coach and he was an ex-national cricketer. So he put a lot of effort into the cricket. So that is where my cricket started.
Okay. Now, just so that you guys could know, I mean, in the introduction, I'm hearing Deighton is from South Rivers, and Nixon, you're from Stubbs, and I suspect that is where the kindred spirit comes from because my grandfather, Hubert E. A. Daisley, is from Stubbs, which means I'm from Stubbs. And
Wait.
just in
Sian,
case
you
you
come
didn't
from
know,
good people. I never know. Sian.
and just in case you didn't know,
Otherwise, right?
you didn't know, Dayton, Hubert's son, Big Grant in South Rivers, the father of Ricky and Les and all those guys. That was my uncle. So Ricky and those
Okay,
guys are
okay.
are my cousins as well. So there's connection between all of
Yeah.
us here. South Rivers, Stubbs, Chateaubelair. So
You
yes,
combine the
that is
villages together.
where we
Yeah.
come from.
Mm.
Now, both of you guys excelled. You Dayton played for the regional cricket, as did Nixon. Did you guys enter regional cricket at the same time, or was there a space between when you both entered regional cricket? Because you played locally. Well, maybe we should also talk about that, making the national team, making the Winward's team, and so forth.
Yeah. We both played at the regional level. Started at the regional level. Different time. But Nixon played under 19 in 1991. Nixon. I think he started 91.
I did.
Right. And I started 92. And but both of us made our debut for the St. Vincent senior team 1994. No, 1993. Right, Nixon?
Okay.
Yes.
94. But we actually made our debut together. We made Ian Allen went to England that year. Cameron Coffey went to England that year playing for Surrey. Casper Davis went to England that year playing in the leagues. Danley Joseph went to England playing in the leagues. So St. Vincent were missing 4 of their most experienced players, and they were already playing for the Windward Islands. Now all three Windward Island teams had their full squad available to them. And Nixon, Tace, and myself. When I say Tace, I talk about McLean
McLean
Morgan.
Morgan. Yes.
All 3 of us were making our debut for the national team. 3 fast bowlers. And
You have a problem with that. You batted before me. That is not fair.
and we won the Windward Islands tournament. And I think that was the first year St. Vincent was winning in about 7 years.
Wow.
And we played in Dominica. The pitch was a bit wet. So them guys show some gas on the pitch and light a fire to pull out the moisture. And then say pitch is ready to play. So we had to fight to save that game. And I remember Nixon came in and meet me, right? And as soon as Nixon touched the ball, it doesn't matter where it go, I have to be backing up because he's getting off that strike. All he's telling me, you batted me for me, you take.
Butler, do you remember that year, right? When PM said every wicket any bowler got is $500, and you know who got all the wickets? Butler, Warwick, and Coffee. All the 3 persons from his
From
constituency.
South Rivers. You wanted to keep the money in the constituency. Now,
Yeah.
you guys played regional cricket. Is there a regional opponent, whether it's St. Vincent playing against the other Windwards teams or playing for the Windwards against other regional teams? Which opponent, which one of the teams was your favorite to come up against, and which was your worst to come up against?
Dominica always give us the hardest fight.
Yeah.
They have bunch of patriotic persons, and I
Yeah, they never
respect
give
them
up.
for it. They always give us the toughest fight. They would lose against everyone else, but when they come up against St. Vincent, they would just pull out all the stops.
And
No.
at the regional level, we always enjoy, beating Barbados. That's the team we always want to
Oh yes, definitely.
want to.
And listen, I'm having fun because I mean I'm hearing these things coming out, and I'm assuming why. But you just once, even if you lose all the other matches, once you beat Barbados, you're good.
Yeah, and once we beat Barbados, we'll beat other people because your confidence way up. Because Barbados it was always the team to beat even back then.
Okay.
And you know something, but see, the Leeward Islands, Ambrose always complained that we would give them the hardest fight and then surrender to Barbados.
Okay. I think we've lost Dayton, but he's coming back in, so we should get him back there. All right.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about your experience playing not West Indies so much yet, but in the leagues. I think you played in South Africa for a couple of seasons, Nixon. How was that? Especially you're playing in post-apartheid South Africa. It hadn't been that long since things had changed, and they were integrating black people and so forth. How was your experience in post-apartheid South Africa, playing as a black boy from the Caribbean in a place that was predominantly, well, not predominantly, but was ruled by the white minority, with laws that were very restrictive regarding black people? And even after apartheid, you still saw remnants of that, well, much more than remnants of that, active in the societies. Tell us a little bit about your experience there.
Yeah, it was an eye-opening experience. Well, all of us knew the history, but once you get to South Africa, there is a different reality that hits you. Because I'm not too sure if I can say this, but they don't see us as black people. They saw us as persons who are not a part of the struggle, and we didn't understand the struggle, and we're from America, and that was a serious eye opener for me.
And you're talking about the black South Africans.
Yes, they don't see us as black as they are. They see us as Americans, and we don't understand the struggle, which is a bit sad.
Actually, because we had our own struggle. We had to overcome slavery and colonialization and colonialism, and the remnants of slavery, and the prejudices that followed. So that is a new perspective for me there, understanding that the black South Africans felt that way about other black individuals from different parts of the world. But how were you accepted, especially as a black man with white crowds, playing among white teammates and so forth? How was that?
But see, and I would walk down a crowded street in South Africa, and black South Africans would come up to me and ask, "Where am I from?" You understand what I'm saying? They would, I am as black as them, or even blacker than some of them, and they would ask, "Where are you from? You look different." How I'm looking different? How black is different?
I had similar experiences. I went there in 2007, and I also had some experiences, and I experienced their own um, elements of prejudices. I wouldn't say racism because we are all black, but their own prejudices regarding other black people. And even for example, I'd go to a restaurant with someone, sometimes a white individual, and the individuals who serving would come to me and automatically start speaking in their language, whether it's Zulu or what have you. And I'd have to turn to them and say, no, I don't understand. And I'd get a look from them that kind of suggest, were you playing, as if like I'm a South African or I'm an African who probably went overseas and now I'm back and pretending not to speak the language. You know what I mean? So I had to deal with that for the period of time I was there. But we had our own struggle here, and we had this struggle of prejudice and colonization and so forth that we had to deal with. So I understand their struggle of apartheid, but their struggle, while different, was just that. It was just a different struggle, but our struggle was just as important as theirs as well. But that's an interesting perspective. How long you spent? How many seasons you spent in South Africa?
3 seasons.
3 seasons. If you had the chance to do it again, Nixon, would you?
Definitely.
All right, and I appreciate that. Now, you've had your experiences as well, Deighton, um, playing regional cricket, playing for you play for the Windwards, just to make sure,
Yeah.
right? Um, do you sometimes I hear of insularity in cricket with the small island versus big islands, so the Jamaica, the Trinidad, the Guyana, and even Barbados, which is not much bigger than us, but those are considered the quote unquote big islands, and the Windwards and the Leewards small islands. But among your colleagues in the Windwards, would you say that that level of that kind of attitude, that level of insularity existed, or was there real brotherhood and camaraderie because we all from small Windwards and we all get treated better like so? It's one for all and all for one, and if one person is excelling, we'll push that one person.
The question is for me.
Yes, that was for you.
The internet went down a little bit, so just repeat the question.
I was asking about the attitude of your teammates on the Winwoods team. Uh, did you find that there was camaraderie on that team that was different than the type of big island, small island type of attitude that you hear about when it comes to the West Indies? Uh, was there any type of attitude like that, or were the guys on the Windward Island team comrades that said, "Listen, we are all for one, we are one for all, and if we see that Deighton has a chance of making West Indies, we're going to push Deighton. If we see Nixon have a chance, we're going to push Nixon." Or is it that the coach and the selectors playing their mates from their islands in the same way that you have the criticism from the West Indies level?
No, I think sadly it seems like once you have a multi-island team, there is that kind of thing existing in it, because to be honest, when we played for Windwards, and you had a lot of situation where players from each island will, more or less stick to their own country person, you know. So much so that I remember manager Glasgow started to, in terms of the room assignment, start mixing it up. So you'll have a Vincentian rooming with a Dominican or a Grenadian. Not trying not to put not two persons from the same island, as roommates, because there was a lot of segregation in terms of islands sticking to themselves. you know. And I mean that is something that I will hope we'll be able to get away from completely. But I think when we played, I think we tried our best to try and remove that kind of thing. We were more closely knit in terms of you have friends from different islands. You're close with the other guys, so we started to mix a bit more. I mean, when we go and play the Windward Island tournament, we play hard and we give each other chats and try to talk out a battle or whatever. But as we
Just
start
to,
coming
sorry,
together, we want a little bit. Yeah, go ahead, Nico.
sorry, Botsy, just to strengthen Botsy's point, after playing, when I started coaching, I made it my business to let the players know that the 4 islands of the Windward Islands landmass is bigger than Barbados. So they are not bigger than us. And do not ever let them think that they are, you know what I mean? Botsy.
Yeah, no small island
Yeah,
business. Yeah.
understand that.
So we're not small. We are not smaller as 4 islands than a Barbados or some of the other islands.
Now,
But
if that attitude,
yeah.
yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Brighton.
I remember. Yeah, I remember when I was selected to go to New Zealand with the West Indies team. There was the individual who was the manager at the time. Three of us were selected to go to New Zealand. Up to today, he never tell me congratulations. And he congratulated the other 2 individuals. He was from a different island than me. But,
okay, I understand that. No. How many tours did you do with the West Indies, Deighton?
2. One to Sri Lanka 2005 and New Zealand 2006.
Okay. Now, if that attitude that exists then is still persisting, what would, and I want both of you guys to chip in and give me your perspective. What impact do you see that attitude of insularity, of everybody searching for their own, everybody sticking to their own? What impact do you see that having on West Indies cricket as a whole?
Yeah, well, I mean, we definitely have to see West Indies cricket as one nation, and it doesn't matter which island you're from. You should be given the same opportunity like any other person once you're performing. At the end of the day, I think performance should be, the main thing for your selection. With the other things being in place, you're fit enough to play and whatever. But they should be looking at your performance and not where you're from. And I don't think it is as bad today as it probably was in the past. But until we get to the stage where, performance is the key and not, where you're from, where you'll give the same opportunity you will give to somebody from St. Vincent, you will give the same opportunity for somebody from Barbados or Trinidad. So if you're giving somebody, you say you're giving them a run, like you say you're giving them, okay, I'm gonna give him a few matches to try and find his feet, right? You should be doing the same for somebody from the next island. Don't just give them one game and they fail and you brush them aside. We have to let the players get to the stage where they understand that we are one West Indies team, one nation, where cricket is concerned. And let the players develop that attitude. Play for each other. It doesn't matter where you're from. And once we are able to show them that, as whether you being a selector, administrator, a coach, once you are able to show the players that, the players should be able now to take that on board and take it on the field. So the same way you will show yourself to take a brilliant catch for a man from your country, you will do it for somebody from the other island, because at the end of the day, it's one team. But once we start to see ourselves as individual islands when it comes to the cricket, it is definitely going to affect what happens on the field. Because you tell yourself that your countryman, like I am from Trinidad and Nixon is from Barbados. I might say, boy, Cian from Barbados, he's a better bowler than Nixon. Me ain't killing myself to take his catch or feel his ball. Cian should be playing instead of him. Rather than showing yourself and do something brilliant, not because you think that your countryman should be playing ahead of him. We have to play as one and see each other as our brothers, regardless of where you're from.
I think the opportunity, sorry, Butler, I think the opportunity is now universal. I personally, I think I've made more money playing outside of West Indies cricket than playing for West Indies. So that scope is out there. That the opportunities are there. Once you have that talent, not to limit yourself, and there are opportunities all over the world. I mean, there are persons, Butler, you would know, who never put on a white uniform to play Test cricket for West Indies, but they have made an indelible mark around the world.
Sometimes when you look at that, you question the old saying that a prophet has no honor may come. But like you said, Nixon, like you've said, if you have that talent and you're disciplined, there are other opportunities. Looking back on your career, Nixon, what would you say if you were to think of one highlight moment, what would that moment be as a player?
Funny enough, when I made my Test debut in 1998 in Jamaica, that test match, I did not bat, I did not bowl, I did not field, because the test match lasted less than an hour.
Okay.
That's the match that was called off with England.
Exactly. That's the match I remember every single day. I didn't get to do anything in that match at all. And it went down as a test match.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, Nixon. I actually went digging for some files, and for individuals who never had the chance of seeing Nixon McLean in action, I'm going to play a bit of Nixon in action. You'd hear the commentary. We'd see the clip, Nixon, and maybe after the clip, you can tell us a little bit about what went down there. So let's just look at this clip. It's about 2 minutes long. So let's see some of Nixon McLean in action.
And he's gone. And he's gone. Shot in the air again. Proves Stewart's downfall. That's good thinking by the West Indies. They've got the early breakthrough. Alex Stewart has gone, and England are 1 down for 7.
Caught again in pretty much the same spot. Same shot, but slightly different. in length with those two deliveries that he got out with. But that is what the West Indies wanted, an early breakthrough, and especially that man. It's 7 for 1.
Great start to this young man's one-day international career. Big shout and gone. What a great over from Nixon McLean. Disappointment for Ben Hollyoake. He troops off, head down. West Indies are alight here. England 9 for 2.
An excellent delivery again. We saw him getting the ball to come into the left-hander. This one going away from the right-hander. Beautifully bowled. Excellent line, good length. And he knows it. He doesn't even have to look behind him. Nixon McLean, that's his second wicket. England now 9 for 2.
Hasn't been turned on and off quite so easily. Oh, he's gone. Gone this time. Conversation about Graham Hick can end for the day. Great disappointment for him and for England.
That's a good reply from Nixon McLean. Has been played with ease in this over by Graham Hick, but that is quite an impressive delivery.
That was a quite an impressive clip, Nixon, and I very much enjoyed that delivery. What year was that, and was that the same series that you talked about when you debuted?
No, Sion, that game was of less importance to me than actually what happened before, because I broke curfew the night. I went home and I slept home because we had stayed at a hotel in town. I'm not calling it. And I went home and I was chauffeuring passengers in a small car that I had. Persons were on the road from 4 o'clock in the morning to go and see Nixon McLean playing that game. Persons from Stubbs. Butler, you could eat your heart out.
So this match was in St. Vincent?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I was chauffeuring persons in a small car that I had just bought, back and forth, because they decided they wanted to see Nixon McLean play in St. Vincent at Arnold's Vale. So the result wasn't as important as the event before the match.
I'm
not too sure how long this program is going to be, but there are some things I would need to mention. But you are the moderator, so
we have at least another 12 or so minutes, and so we hopefully will get into some of it, Nixon, because I really want us to talk about the direction of cricket, not just in St. Vincent alone, but in the region, and also what you've been doing since you left the scene, since you left the playing scene. What exactly have you been up to? So maybe we could talk about that. Deighton just rejoined us. What exactly have you been up to now, Nixon? Because you played at the highest level. Since you've retired, what have you been up to?
Okay, I'm still actively involved in coaching. And let me remind Butler that my team, Botanic Gardens Rangers, won the VPL. The last VPL. Butler, you can. And I am not too sure if this is the right occasion, but I want to make mention of a colleague of ours who's experiencing a bit of health challenge, Deighton.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I don't think he'll mind me mention it here.
Well, he's my good friend, so by all means, go right ahead.
I would rather let him at his own time do that, but I just saw it fitting now to mention it because he's a huge member of our sporting fraternity, regionally as a scorer and all that. And I just thought it fitting to mention it. And I hope
So you
his
say you're
relatives or anyone don't.
go ahead. Sorry.
I think I lost you for a while, Sian.
No, that's right. So I'm saying, go ahead. You were saying regarding to Dyke, you were finishing up with Dyke, and you were saying
That I'm not too sure if it is my place to mention it, but as a personal friend, as a cricket administrator, as a scorer regionally and all that, I just thought it was worthwhile mentioning that he is
well,
not.
thank you so much for bringing that up, Nixon. And I would reach out to I'd reach out to Dyke myself sometime soon, maybe in the morning, because he's a good friend of mine, and it's unfortunate that I'm hearing that he has a health challenge. So I definitely reach out. So I appreciate the fact that you've mentioned that on this program. Thank you so much. If we were to finish up on the issue of your coaching, because I want to go to Deighton now on what he's doing, have you taken the coaching on a professional level? Have you done certificates and so forth? And the reason I'm asking is when we had the last vacancy for West Indies coach, you had Shiv Chandapal and Darren Sammy being the two individuals under consideration. And one of the criticisms of Darren was that he has no certification. I remember cricketers like Sarwan and so on came out criticizing that decision over Chandapal, who actually has coaching certificates. Have you decided to go that route to do it professionally, or is it just something that you're doing and imparting your knowledge to the youngsters around you?
Actually, I have some certifications because to play professionally overseas, one of the prerequisites is that you have to be certified because part of your responsibilities are coaching and being in charge of persons. So you have to have that. I think I lost.
No, you're still here.
Okay.
Challenge.
Yeah.
We haven't
That is a
challenge
prerequisite.
Yes.
That is a prerequisite. So you have to be certified because you can't be coaching people's children and all that if you don't have the requisite certification. So I have that, but whether or not I have the time or I want to do that, it's probably another question.
Okay. Now we move to you, Deighton, and you've moved on from a player, and now you're quote unquote. I'm going to use the phrase plying your trade as an umpire. You did that locally and regionally, but you've excelled significantly regarding in this new field. Tell us a little bit about that, and what caused you to change to make that leap from player to umpire.
Well, I always wanted to stay, involved in the game, and I see it as, as our duty to, stay in the game and give back in some form or fashion. So I also do a lot of coaching. I'm presently up to level 2. Nixon, when Nixon was the national coach, I would have been there, helping him push his training program and stuff like that. I also coached the national team. I coached the under-19. Up to last year, I worked with the national under-19 team, where we lost in the finals in St. Lucia. But even when I was playing, I think one of the things that motivated me with umpiring is concerned, it was the, if I should say, the state of umpiring. I think, during our time playing, many times we were at the, the wrong end of umpiring decisions and so on. So I always wanted to, go into that area to hopefully add some value and help to lift the standard. And that was one of the things that motivated me to go into umpiring. To help lift the standard of umpiring, regionally and hopefully, go on to international. So
besides the local and regional games, where else have you umpired? Because I know you umpire, like you see, like right now you're in Jamaica doing the regional tournament. You umpire for Windward Island games and so forth. Where else do you umpire?
Well, about 2 weeks ago, I came back from Bangladesh, where I participated in the Bangladesh Premier League. I think Bangladesh, they contacted the West Indies board, Cricket West Indies, asked for an umpire to participate in the BPL. So what Cricket West Indies did, they used the CPL, as the yardstick to choose the umpire that they wanted to send. And I topped the averages for decision making and stuff like that for the CPL with 98.5%. So I was chosen as the person to represent West Indies there. I did the finals at the CPL. Well, last year that was my 4th consecutive finals, in the CPL, and I have done CPL 4 times, so that's not bad. So I went to Bangladesh. I did the second half of the tournament. I actually met a friend, someone who knows Nixon well there, a gentleman from England, another umpire who participated in the tournament, David Mill. You remember him, Nixon?
I would rather not remember him.
He told me. He actually told me
some of his exploits. I'll rather not remember.
He actually told me the most frightening experience he had as a batting was facing one Nixon McLean from the West Indies.
I can't remember that.
When he played county.
I can't remember.
He said that the Nixon was rapid. and he was happy when he came out.
Okay.
Let me say this. Before we come in Nixon, let me just say this as we are on Bangladesh. I was looking at that game. I believe it was between Islamabad. Sorry, no, that's Pakistan. I can't remember the teams, but I think Obed was on one team and Kyle Mayers was on the other team. And I was watching that game, and there was a decision that you made, a not-out decision that you made, and everyone was so confident that it was out. As a matter of fact, when Kyle Mayers bowled the ball and the appeal for LBW went up and he said not out, immediately, he didn't consult his captain or anybody, he immediately signaled for a review and it went up. And when the review went up, I tell you, I could not have been more proud as a Vincentian that Deighton Butler was the umpire who was doing this. And I want to show our viewers exactly what I'm talking about. It's the kind of thing that makes you feel emotional, because the comment that the Prime Minister always uses that says, we ain't better than nobody, but nobody is better than us. And you saw the quality of umpiring in Deighton Butler, so much so that the captain of the team had to come back and say, you know what, you were right. And you could probably talk us through it after I show you this clip, but let me just show the viewers what I'm talking about.
Oh, this looks close. He's immediately referring.
And yes, they have.
Keep rolling. Pitching outside leg on not out decision. One spin, signal now.
Tell us that what happened there, because I saw them coming to you. I saw the captain talking to you. What was that all about?
Well, when I gave it not out, immediately, they reviewed it, and so even while I was sending up the review, the captain was saying, how you could give that not out? What happened? So after I completed the process of sending up the review, he then asked me, say, how you can give that not out? I say, it's pitching outside leg stump. He said, what? I said, no. So after they saw the front on, and then when they see the front on, they were all celebrating because they figure that have to be out, right? Even Puran, who was the batsman, felt like he was in some trouble. So when they saw the ball pitching outside leg, so the captain, he came back and tapped me on my shoulder. He said, great decision. And then he said, that's why you are the umpire and I'm only a player. That was a great decision. And all the players from the fielding team was giving me thumbs up and say, wow, great decision. So that was a good moment. Yeah.
It was for me as well. Guys, we out of time. We have less than 2 minutes left. I'm gonna ask Yes.
You cannot. I want to thank you for this opportunity.
Yes.
So, because something is going to happen in St. Vincent and the Grenadines in June, Cricket World Cup.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's something that Vincentians should be proud of. It's something I'm extremely passionate about. And the reason why I am happy for this opportunity is that I just want to remind people that there is no Vincentian who has ever played for West Indies, has ever played under lights in St. Vincent. That is an alarming stat. It is a fact. None of us, from Mike, Finley, Alfred, none of us have ever played on the lights in St. Vincent. And that is going to happen in June of this year. None of us has ever seen our names up on an electronic scoreboard. As a matter of fact, while I'm on scoreboard, if you want to let the program go for another 2 minutes, because I'm so passionate about this. And Butler, you would remember Jose and his crew. I was man of the match adjudicator one time. And West Indies were playing against Pakistan. And a batter came in to bat at number 4. And his name was kind of long. So he didn't last long, but he came in to bat and didn't last long. But his name never got to go on the scoreboard because, but like you remember those pieces of tinning that you have to use that we had as scoreboards? That Jose and his crew had to be fitting them. Sometimes the breeze blow them down. We are going to have an electronic scoreboard. You could come to a cricket match 3 hours late and the scoreboard tell you exactly what happened, who won the toss, who was the umpires, who. So this is the direction we are heading, and we must be able to appreciate all that is happening because this is not for our generation. It is unfair for a new generation to go through what we went through. Butler, Butler gone?
He's back.
Yeah, it is unfair for a new generation to go through what we went through. I played on the lights in Australia. And when they turn off the lights, is the only time I know the difference between night or day. The first test match I actually saw live, I was a part of the match. We cannot allow a generation to go through what we went through.
All right. Thank you very much, Nixon. And I would use those as your closing comments. Deighton, your closing comments. I think that Dayton is having a bit of an internet struggle. He's been having internet struggles all evening, but he has persevered. He gets knocked out and he comes back in. I am good. I can't end without giving him an opportunity to give closing comments. But I'm happy that you raised that, Nixon. Maybe as it comes closer to World Cup, I'll do another program focusing specifically on T20 World Cup and its implications for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But I'm glad you mentioned that because, yes, that massive event is happening in our region. And unlike Cricket World Cup in 2007, 2008, where we got some warm-up games, we'd actually be getting games, and I think group games as well as knockout games for the T20 World Cup, and that is a big thing for cricket lovers. That's a big thing for our country. It's a big thing for our economy. So I'm really happy that you brought that up, Nixon. And let me thank you so much. When I reached out to you and asked you to do the program, you didn't hesitate for a second, and I really want to thank you for that, Nixon, for that willingness to be a part of the program, and also that willingness to give back to your community, to the youngsters, to your country. So I really want to thank you for doing this evening's program, Up Late with Sion Marshall. I'm still waiting to see if we can have Dayton connected with us, reconnected to the program, so that we could allow him to give his closing. We're over time already, but I think I owe him. I know I owe him the courtesy of a thank you, and also to allow him to say thank you and good evening to our viewers. But he seems to be having quite a bit of internet problems. Nixon, while we wait a few seconds before Dayton coming, West Indies cricket, are you happy with where it is and where it's going now? I mean, we seem to be doing a little better. We had some okay results with the test match and so forth. We're happy that a local boy, Kishore Shallow, is the president and so forth. But apart from that emotional aspect of it, because of your countryman being president, the actual cricket itself, are you happy with where it is, or at least where it's going? Do you see things happening that is pointing in the right direction?
Are you happy?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
So if you're not happy, you expect me to be happy, and I have it going through my blood.
But
I'm just
maybe, yes. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I am happy with the effort that the persons in charge are putting in, the direction that they are going. But I am happy that as a people, we are learning that it was unfair for West Indies to be competing with the rest of the world given what we had at the time. Because when I went to Australia, I realized that it is not fair that we should be running world cricket under these conditions.
Well, the regional CEO gave a scathing attack on ICC and the way it is distributing the earnings and so forth, and that according to him, the way they're doing it is designed to keep West Indies down. They really don't want to see West Indies strive. But that's another story and that's another discussion. I think we've completely lost Deighton Butler. He said he's hearing us, but he's unable to come on. Well, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not hearing you. I'm not seeing you, Deighton. But let me thank you so much for being a part of the program. I really appreciate you taking the time again. When I asked you to come on, you did not hesitate, and so I really appreciate that. Um, your willingness to do that, and I congratulate you. I congratulate your exploits, and I wish you all the best. I hope that one day, and I wanted to speak to you about this, that you'll be one of the ICC elite umpires on the elite panel, whatever that means, because you seem to be going in the right direction regarding your umpiring part, regarding your umpiring ability and how efficient you are in that regard. So again, Nixon, thank you so much. Deighton, thank you so much. And let me wish you guys a good evening.
Pleasure. I'll be happy to come back at any time.
Excellent. Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right. So that was those brothers, Nixon McLean and let's see, and Deighton Butler, who were on our program. Sorry, I was a little distracted there. Who were on our program, staying up late with us, and we've way over time. But I just needed to comment briefly on something. I woke up to the news this morning that there was a shooting in the hospital. That gunman went to the hospital and shot someone. Now, sometimes when you hear these things, because they're not close to you or related to you, you would express some disgust or some an opinion of frustration or anger. But it soon disappears because, it's not close to you. However, this time I learned that a very good friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, someone I regard as a little brother, was actually at the hospital right there next to the patient. My friend isn't a gangster. He isn't a gunman. He isn't a bad boy. Actually, he's a nurse, and he was just doing his job. And while doing his job, tending the sick, he could have died. He could have died because individuals with that love for guns and violence decided to take that violence to a place of healing. This has gone too far. Something has got to be done. Now, things have been done, absolutely. The government continues to hire police officers, train police officers, improve their conditions of work. The government, we just had a number of promotions, a new commissioner. But when I was doing international relations, I learned of an approach or two approaches in negotiations: carrots and sticks. And our government has used the carrot approach so far with some of the individuals who have decided that they want to make crime their lifestyle. They've done gun amnesty. And as it were, approached this quote-unquote negotiation with kid gloves. Well, apparently, or clearly, these criminals are eating the carrots and getting fat. And so maybe it's time that we use the stick approach. Enough tough talk. Let's get some tough action. Now, mind you, I am not in any way suggesting vigilante justice or that the government should trample on the rights of anyone. But our society cannot be more concerned about the rights of perpetrators of crimes, alleged perpetrators of crimes, over the rights of victims, their loved ones, their families, and innocent people doing their work. Something must be done. The role of the state is to ensure that its people are safe. And I believe tough action, or rather tougher action, needs to be taken to ensure that that happens. Until next Thursday, when I'm back with you with another exciting program, this is Sion Marshall saying, thank you so much for staying up late with us.
Many people wonder where my
Sorry, I need to get. I always mess up this. Where are we now?